Quinn with time. Uncorks it. Ashton Hawkins shakes and scores.
This is the Sikkim 365 radio postgame show.
Second and long scenario. Pete drops back. Doesn't have much time. Garmin Randolph makes quick work of him.
Now here's David Smoke.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 365 post-game show in partnership with osoletter.com. I am Matt Wilson, filling in for Smoke. The Bears, 7-4. There's a saying, I think the Solid Verbal, Dan of the Solid Verbal coined it, or at least popularized it. Win your clunkers. Win your clunkers. And that is exactly what Baylor did. Traveling to Houston, getting the win 20-10. It was not pretty. It was not necessarily exciting if you like high-flying offensive football. And it was oftentimes frustrating, but it was a win. And it feels, from a fan perspective, pretty dang good to be in a spot to win a game where you turn the ball over 3 times. Did I get that correct? Yep, 3 times, and still get the win. Again, Baylor is 7-4. The possibility of winning 8 is still out there, but let's run down some of the biggest plays from this game. The first quarter, first score of this game, Michael Trigg, 5-yard reception from Sawyer Robertson. Immediately after that, an interception by Sawyer Robertson returned for a touchdown. Sawyer Robertson then throws a beautiful ball to Ashton Hawkins in the second quarter for a 23-yard touchdown. No scores in the third, and it became a field goal situation where Isaiah Hankins finishes the first half with a 45-yard field goal. Houston hits a field goal, their only offensive points of the game, and finishing the game with about 4 minutes left, Hankins hits one from 50. Look, I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. The game was rough offensively, but I don't know that that's necessarily the biggest lesson or the biggest takeaway that the fan base should have coming away from this. It is rare in college football to have a quarterback like Sawyer Robertson play the way he has played before this game the entire season. To only have, I think, less than 5 interceptions before this game and just be that consistent from a completion percentage standpoint and from protecting the ball. There's too much variability in college football to expect that to happen the entire season, no matter how good the quarterback is. But especially if you're going up against a good defense like this Houston team, where your offense will have fewer possessions because of the pace of play. It happens. It happens. This is college football. This is not the pros. And it will happen. So 3 interceptions from Sawyer Robertson tonight. This is a big if you take away those 3 interceptions, 15 for 23, 204 yards, and 2 scores with 65% completion rating. That's what he's been doing all season. A really good game outside of those 3 interceptions. So, which again, outside of is doing a lot of work there, because this was not a good game from Sawyer Robertson in totality. But 2 great touchdown throws. You can't take that away from him either. That is the Sawyer Robertson conversation that I'm willing to have unless somebody brings up something unique and thought out. Let's take a look at the rest of the offense before we move to the highlight of the game. Bryson Washington, no touchdowns on the day. Rare after scoring, 8 or 10 over the last 2 or 3 games. He did carry the ball 28 times. We are in Ollie Gordon territory there. 28 times for 113 yards. That man earned his ice bath, and he earned a good night's sleep. I figure that he will be sore tomorrow. Dawson Pendergrass, 14 carries for 41. Richard Reese got 2 carries for 8 yards total. As a team, 121 rush yards, 204 passing yards for a total of 325. Not every Big 12 team has faced Houston and come out with that amount of offensive production. They just haven't. So it was enough to win. That's all you can say. That's all you can say. Now, let's talk about this defense. Houston is an abysmal offense. What do you need to do against an abysmal offense? Exactly what Baylor did tonight. Houston totaled 239 yards. 147 through the air, 92 on the ground. 92 on the ground. When this is a team that wants to run the ball, that is what they want to do. That is the only thing that they do consistently. 92 yards is fairly impressive. Fairly impressive. Holding them to 3 of 10 on third downs is exactly what you needed to do. Average yards per play, 4.7 for Houston. It's exactly what you needed to do as a defense. Houston scored 3 points from their offense. That is how much they scored on offense. That you can't expect anything else from a defensive performance. You just can't. You take away those 3 turnovers that Baylor had, this looks a lot different, I think, from a score perspective. Jesus in the chat brings up a great point that I failed to mention in the opening seconds. This is a 5-game win streak for your Baylor Bears. An incredible turnaround. We talked a lot about it last week, but this is an incredible turnaround from going... it was an environment of, are we going to make a bowl, to now 5 games in a row, 7-4. Terrific composure from this team and coaching staff. Let's highlight some of the individual performances that I wanted to highlight. Then we will take a break. I know we have a couple callers waiting, and I want to get to you guys because a lot of different ways these opinions can go. I've seen a bunch of different ones online, and I want to know what you think. But first off, key players for me today, Keaton Thomas, 11 tackles, 2 tackles for loss. He was around the ball at all times. Just a fantastic performance. Offensively, like I said, Bryson Washington, to carry the ball 28 times is remarkable in modern day college football. Well done. You got what you could. Houston was king on the run. Baylor wasn't looking to put the ball into danger too many times because of what had happened. 113 yards. Be proud of that. And then Isaiah Hankins, 6 points, putting the game out of reach effectively from 45 and 50 yards. That is a real weapon. Special teams showed up twice tonight. The massive fumble recovery to really ice the game, and then some extra cushion in the score from Isaiah Hankins, scoring from 45 and 50 yards out. Impressive. Let's go ahead and take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll hear from you guys. Please throw your thoughts in the chat or use the link that's in the chat to call in. I want to hear from you. Be right back.
Get ready, Baylor fans. The ultimate game weekend experience awaits you at the Baylor Club. Kick off your weekend with our Friday Night Live pep rally. With live entertainment and special appearances from the Baylor Spirit Squad, it's the perfect way to start your game weekend with a roar. On Saturdays, don't miss our Knox Hall tailgate. Enjoy delicious food, ice-cold drinks, and great company as you gear up for the big game. And after the weekend's excitement, wrap it all up with our famous Bear brunches on Sundays. Don't wait. Make your game weekends legendary with the Baylor Club membership today.
Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, diagnosing and treating all sports-related injuries, including concussions. These specialists also provide orthopedic services for athletes and non-athletes alike, whether it's knee or shoulder pain, a wrist injury, orthopedic spine care, and even an arthritis and total joint clinic. Trust the doctors Baylor Athletics trust. Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics wants to get you back in the game.
Make Camp Fimfo the destination for your next visit to Waco. Whether you're catching a football game, exploring the silos, or just looking to get away, Camp Fimfo Waco is conveniently located 6 miles from downtown and Baylor University. Voted a #1 best vacation rental in Waco for the last 2 years, this camping resort features cabins and RV sites and is brimming with premium amenities like on-site dining, sports courts, a swimming pool, and more. Start making unforgettable memories and book your stay at Camp Fimfo Waco.
Edward Jones Financial Advisors Ben Erlinson, Brad Wilson, and Cam Heathcott understand these are difficult and changing times we live in, but they know how important your financial investments are to you. So is your financial advisor staying in touch with you and helping you navigate today's financial climate? Invest with Edward Jones Financial Advisors Ben Erlinson, Chuck Verno, Brad Wilson, and Cam Heathcott, who invest their time and experience back to you and your money. And like coaching athletes, investing money is about time, patience, and encouragement. Contact Ben Erlinson at 254-759-8533. Brad Wilson's location at 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, and Cam Heathcott in Conroe. Edward Jones Financial Advisors, Ben Erlinson, Brad Wilson, and Cam Heathcott, proud sponsors of 365 Sports. Edward Jones, making sense in investing, member SIPC.
There are 26 letters in the alphabet, over 600,000 words in the dictionary, and just 3 of them said together can change everything. Let's order pizza. Those 3 words lead to dough made from scratch and 3 fresh signature cheeses that blanket golden crust in a heavenly melt on Marco's Pizza that'll blow your mind. So visit marcos.com to order and stop by Marco's Pizza in Belmead, China Spring, Woodway, and in Robinson. Marco's. Pizza lovers get it.
This is the Sikkim 365 postgame show. Now here's David Smoke.
Not David Smoke. Matt Wilson here filling in. Baylor gets the win in Houston, 20-10. Ugly game at times. Defensive battle for sure. I named 3 players that stood out to me statistically. A couple members of the chat pointed out that I left some people out. Michael Trigg, with a career high in receiving yards, 96 yards, 4 catches, and a score that was truly phenomenal. A one-handed catch and contain with one hand. And then also, Ashton Hawkins does it again. Just a phenomenal catch on the corner route from Sawyer Robertson. He had 6 catches for 65 and a score. Truly, truly impressive from those gentlemen. Walker, I believe we have some people on the line wanting to talk. Who do we have on the line?
It says John Miller. We have him on the line.
John, are you with us? John? Maybe not.
All right, I'll remove him. This is also Susan, who's on here.
Susan, thanks for calling in. Susan, are you there? That's okay. Call back in if you can.
That's all I got for you right now.
Yeah, no worries. No worries at all. Something to consider. I don't want to look ahead too much, but you know what? Let's do this in steps here. Baylor has Kansas next week at home in McLean. Kansas surprised me today, not necessarily just because they won, but the amount of defensive comfort that they were showing against a Colorado team that is known to light up the scoreboard at times was impressive to me. I was not expecting that from Kansas this week. Kansas also ran all over Colorado. Not terribly surprising, but Kansas looked good. They are definitely improved compared to their earlier losses this season. So Baylor needs to go take care of business next week at home. This is a game that means something. If a couple of these results that happen this week hold pace, that game could actually mean something. Because mathematically, Baylor is not out of the conference championship race. Think about that for 1 second. Just think about that. Baylor, after starting 0-2 in conference, is completely in the race because right now Utah leads Iowa State 28-24. And that is one of the results that Baylor needs in order to be alive next week for a very improbable trip to the conference championship game in Arlington. Some of the other results from this week: Arizona State over BYU, a result that Baylor needed. Kansas over Colorado, Kansas State over Cincinnati, Texas Tech over Oklahoma State, TCU over Arizona, West Virginia did beat UCF, and Utah is currently leading Iowa State. Next week, a scenario that would allow Baylor to go to the conference championship game: UCF over Utah, Oklahoma State over Colorado, Arizona State wins the Civil War over Arizona, Baylor over Kansas, of course, Houston over BYU. And look, this Houston team, if they don't turn it over 3 times themselves, maybe that offense looks a little bit better. TCU over Cincinnati, Kansas State over Iowa State, and then Texas Tech over West Virginia. If those things happen, paired with a Utah win tonight, and again, they currently lead 28-24, Baylor is in the conference championship game. Think about that. It still blows my mind. They would face Arizona State in the conference championship game, an Arizona State team picked last in the conference. Truly, truly remarkable. Looking at the chat, yep, Spavital had some not to lose play calling, Ryan says. There was a lot of talk about the play calling. Why aren't we running it more? Why aren't we passing it more? Different people approaching it from different sides. I think the second half was so run heavy just because of the comfort level this coaching staff had with our defense and what they were able to do. I think at that point, you go get 3 wherever you can go get 3. If you don't, this defense will hold up. At one point, when it became a situation where Houston needed 2 scores just to tie, you lean on what you need to lean on to get out of there with a win, because that's the only thing that matters. I think in certain situations, play sequencing and it seems to be a rhythm situation with this offense as well. This offense didn't really feel in rhythm from a play selection standpoint. Was it the most pleasing play selection for me? No, but Spav has shown he knows exactly what he's doing. And against a good defense, this is the best defense Baylor will play, likely, unless there is a particular matchup in a bowl game, which, by the way, reminder, there is a bowl game this season. If there's a particular matchup, this will be the best or one of the 2 best defenses that Baylor plays this season. Something to think about. Still getting out of there with 20 points, isn't the most satisfying end result, but it was enough to win. Unless there are any other callers, I think this is an evening where we are grateful for a win there. You got to win your clunkers. Your defensive backs showed up in a game where they needed to show up. AF Blue with a great comment there. The defensive backs really held up in this game after getting worked the last couple. Kudos to playing a solid and clean game with no PIs. A fantastic point. Pass interference has really killed a couple of drives where Baylor could have gotten off the field. Not the case this week. Lorando Johnson, Devin Bobby, both with interceptions. There was a third. Let me see if I can pull up who got that third interception. It is escaping me. Devin Lemire with that third interception. really, really strong showing from the secondary. Again, against a quarterback that hasn't shown the ability to really go do a lot of damage through the air. But interceptions are interceptions. Lemire, good call. AF Blue, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Bears, a fantastic evening for the Bears because it ended with a W. Again, Kansas comes to Waco next Saturday. And at that point, you start thinking about the bowl game. And if a number of things that are out of Baylor's control go our way, Baylor's still alive for the Big 12 Conference Championship game. Walker, last check for callers, but other than that, we will wrap it up and let people go enjoy their evenings.
I got none for you right now.
No worries at all. Thank you all for joining. Again, Baylor wins 20-10 in a defensive battle in Houston, Texas. By the way, those uniforms were sweet. I love those Oiler knockoffs. Anyway, sick 'em, everybody. Thank you.
Baylor alumni are more than 160,000 strong. When we all join hands to support our university, we don't just move the needle, we move mountains. Working together, we create life-changing opportunities for students on the field, in the classroom, in the laboratory, and in life for generations to come. So get connected, get involved, learn how at Baylor.edu/alumni.